Congratulations, you found the products you like and you think that will sell. But now what? First thing you need to do is to get your hands on the starter quantity of those items. For that, you will need a supplier. This can sometimes be obvious, like if you're selling an existing product manufactured abroad, you will need to contact the manufacturer. The manufacturer will outline the trading conditions, minimum order quantities, and other boxes you need to tick. Some manufacturers will also need to verify your company, look at your website, check your reviews to make sure they're not dealing with a shady operator. Other manufacturers will direct you to the wholesalers you'll have to deal with, but again, you'll have the same hoops to jump through to get your hands on the product. To begin with, try ordering a really minimal quantities of the products because you don't really know what you're getting into. In case of very long lead times with your supplier, you might want to consider a proof of concept purchase where you buy the goods locally, even at the retail price, just to see what will happen. Doing it this way can speed up the process massively, and you will discover if you're even able of shifting those goods. Regarding pricing and margins, don't be too greedy to start with, as many suppliers will have turnover thresholds that dictates the discount you will get. Having said that, the margin still has to be sufficient to support your operation. In reality, margins anywhere between 30 and 60% are common for e-commerce stores. Once you found your supplier and negotiated the terms, now you just place an initial order and wait for the goods to turn up. Meanwhile, you should get all your ducks in a row and sign up for a bunch of services like hosting, payment gateways, all that good stuff. You will need to decide if you trade as a person or as a company. Each of these types of operation has its advantages. In general, it pays to trade as a person for the longest time possible, unless your products are risky in some way and you want to protect yourself from liability. Now is also the time to establish an online presence. The easiest thing to do is to list the products on eBay and see if they'll sell. You might want to speed the process up by using sponsored listings to bring them up higher in the search results. It will also help if you have a pre-existing eBay account with some good feedback. To create those listings, you will need good quality pictures that look professional and clean. You can get away with a white sheet of paper and a smartphone to begin with, but you might need to ask around your friends for any amateur photographers that are willing to help you out. Product photography is an area where you can spend any amount of money on, but you have to remember that pictures are really important for e-commerce because the customer is not able to pick up the goods and touch them physically. So remember to cover all angles, all sides of the products, and focus on specific features that you might want to highlight. In case of electronics, you might want to highlight all the ports and connectors that are available, and also show some pictures with scale. For fashion items, you might want to zoom in on things like zips, pockets, hoods, in addition to a nice lifestyle shot. In theory, you could try some AI generated pictures, but from my experience, they're just not good enough yet to use commercially. However, there are some AI tools you can use to clean up your images, like remove busy backgrounds or do some easy retouching. But this has to be done tastefully, so it's not clear that it's an AI picture. This will be an instant turn off to your customers. The second most important thing are product descriptions. You should highlight all the unique selling points of your product, highlight what makes it different to competitors, and translate those into value. Try to focus on hard value as opposed to soft value. This is something I just made up, but bear with me. Hard value are things like quality, features, longevity, and legal status, like genuine product versus a compatible product. Soft value, that's like recyclable packaging, sustainable sourcing, fair trade. These have minimal impact on the conversion rate, and unless your brand is positioned with those things in mind, they won't be a key differentiator. If Amazon has existing listings for your products, you might want to try listing your offer underneath, but in this case, you will pretty much compete on price, and that will always be a race to the bottom. For new products, you can try creating your own Amazon listings, but that process is very slow and clunky. Amazon has an awful lot of rules and regulations that you want to be aware of before you start trading. Speaking of which, that can actually work in your favor because you yourself might not be aware that you're violating local laws by selling a particular product. For example, when we tried listing melatonin on eBay, it gave us a hard warning saying that this product is forbidden. In Poland, where we buy the goods from, it's regarded as a food supplement, but in the United Kingdom, melatonin is actually a prescription drug. Obviously, you should also research and Google rules and regulations in the niche you're about to enter, as you want to avoid violating the laws in your country. While selling on eBay did give you some pointers on which products will sell, selling them on your website is actually very different. Traffic sources will be different, people's preferences will be different, people's expectations will be different, and people's buying habits will be different. You have to remember that on eBay, your listings were displayed alongside other companies, and that inherently it's focused on one item at a time. eBay navigation is not that easy to buy multiple products from the same seller at the same time. However, in your store you can leverage it to your advantage. You can do things like frequently bought with, recommended products, upsells, cross-sells, downsells, which weren't available to you on eBay. For that reason, you can also list many more products on your website than on eBay and experiment with page structure to make the buying experience more intuitive for your customers. We'll touch on that part next when it comes to page design. Now, let's get back to basics. Now is the time to name your store and buy a domain name, but really spend some time thinking about it because it will be really difficult to change later. For domain name research, I use 123reg, which have a good search engine that will suggest domains that are actually available for your search term and give you opportunity to buy multiple versions of that domain. I highly recommend buying multiple domains covering various suffixes like UK, co-UK, EU, .com, .net and others. Also consider adding some keywords to the domain name like abcwiperblades.com or cbbulbs.com or any other combination. If a keyword is present in the domain name, it will mean a lot to Google and you will rank a lot higher for that search term. You will need to decide on an e-commerce platform. This decision has to be taken very carefully, as you won't be able to change it easily moving forward. Even though I spent 25 years as a web developer, I really don't want to deal with any more technical problems than I have to, and for that reason, all my stores use Shopify. Shopify ecosystem is very easy to use, easy to set up, and feature-rich and with relatively low maintenance. There should also be a lot of people ready to help you if you get stuck. Once you've created your store, you will need to set up a payment gateway. This is where Shopify comes in handy because they have built-in Shopify payments. They also integrate very easily with PayPal, Stripe, Klarna and ClearPay. A word of warning about payment gateways: they like to keep your money for extended periods of time, especially when you're a new seller with no track record. Amazon pays out every 2 weeks, PayPal also pays out after a week or two, and Shopify payments pays out on a schedule with a few days delay. Also do some research on the commissions that the payment gateways charge. PayPal is the easiest to set up, but also the most expensive, charging about 3% plus 30p per transaction. Buy now, pay later providers like Klarna or ClearPay will charge you an even higher commission on orders, that's around 8%, and the reason is that you pay all the costs and the customer has free finance. Once your payments are set up, you will need to choose a template for your store. To begin with, don't try anything fancy. I would just go with one of the built-in templates. A lot of Shopify applications have customizations for these built-in templates, so again, you might avoid all the custom work on your store this way. Shopify also routinely updates these built-in templates to provide new features. Once you've chosen your template, you will need to populate all the boring stuff like privacy policy, terms and conditions, returns policy, contact details, and how to get in touch with you. You wouldn't believe the number of stores that don't provide this information, and in my mind, it's an instant turn-off. How am I supposed to trust a store if I don't even know where it is? This will also be required if you want to sign up for Google Ads, as your account will immediately get suspended if you don't provide public information about your company. At this point, it's also worth signing up with Trustpilot and claiming your profile. Even though they're very expensive and I don't recommend them for larger stores, you will still need a presence there as they rank highest for reviews. Planned customers will find them first when looking for your store reviews. On a side note, when looking at and designing your website, you shouldn't spend too much time looking at it on the desktop view. In my experience, 80% of customers will actually go on it using their phone, so prioritize the design work accordingly. So now that your website is set up, it's time to list your products. The process will be exactly the same as you've already done on eBay, so you should be able to reuse your pictures and descriptions at least to some extent. Actually, a top tip, you can migrate your listings into Shopify and then publish back to eBay using the built-in integration. This way, eBay listings will get automatically deactivated if a product sells out and on Shopify and vice versa. Your fulfillment will also be simpler as you will be able to print all orders from within Shopify interface. Don't bother with polishing the product descriptions just yet. Driving traffic to those pages will be your first task. Thankfully, Shopify also makes this part very easy. It has built-in apps for Google, Meta and TikTok advertising. Unfortunately, there's more admin to be done here as you will have to sign up to Google Merchant Center, Google Ads, create your Facebook business profile on Meta and sign up to TikTok. Once you've registered with all these places and connected them to Shopify, Shopify will take care of syncing your data to these platforms. A lot of manual work will be avoided this way. At this point, you might discover that your advertising platforms will reject some of your products, and you might have to lodge an appeal and justify why this decision was made in error. However, sometimes this might not work and you might have to reconsider the product selection. Choosing your advertising platform is crucial. Some products work much better on Google and some work much better on Meta. It all depends on if there's existing search traffic for your product on Google, or do you need to generate demand. If you're selling cool and cutesy products that are unique, you might be better off with Meta advertising, so you can tell the story about your product and show it visually. Meta works well for things like kitchen accessories, sporting accessories, and anything that makes daily life easier in some original way. Advertising on Meta is all about stopping people scrolling and grabbing their attention, so you can explain to them the benefits of your product and why they might want to buy it now. From my experience, Meta advertising is the harder one of the two channels. On the other hand, if your product is already well known and with high demand, like vitamins for example, you might want to go straight to Google Ads. Google Ads is the easy one to begin with because you don't need to actually create any ads. Google takes the data from your store's feed, takes the pictures and product descriptions and uses those in the Google Shopping search result. For Meta, you will have to design your own ads. Have a picture or a video, do some copywriting, experiment with various hooks and stories that will grab the most attention. This needs some decent marketing skills and you might need to work with an agency to help you out here. However, be warned, agencies can't promise any sales results, they can only promise to give you some ads in exchange for money, but it's up to you to make those ads successful. If you're lucky enough to have an online following, you might be able to use that to drive people to your website. But we're not exactly celebrities, so our tequila wouldn't necessarily sell very well. You should also consider search engine optimization as a valid avenue of getting traffic, but this will be very expensive and time-consuming to get any meaningful results. However, you should still talk to a good SEO agency to begin with to make sure you're not hurting yourself in the SEO, so that your page structure is correct, you don't have any duplicate content, and your website follows Google's design guidelines. If you mess this up really badly, people won't even find you using your store name. Once you've done all these things, you should be in a good position to generate meaningful sales and get to at least £10,000 a month. Now you will need an advertising strategy, and I'll cover that in my next video. If you get stuck doing any of these things, feel free to book a call with me and I'll help you out. Until the next one,